Sometimes when you want to do something, you have to take decisive, focused action steps now to get there. This is true in any career, but especially when you want to make music income. And we all want to make music income. We all want to make the music we love, and we want to make maybe some music income with it. That would just be great. Listen, everyone thinks, hey, I make great, amazing music, and the money will come. But the truth is that you have to take action, my friends. You need a plan, and then you need to execute that plan. Take action. See what I did there? I took action and went to another camera. It didn't work as well as it did in rehearsal, so sorry about that. So I am starting a new series of videos focused on this take action, this action steps type of thing. It's going to be a major part of the next course that I am working on. It's going to be kind of the flagship course of this channel. Once I get done with the current course that I am releasing, I really feel that no matter what you want to do in music, whether making money is a factor or not, some of you may not say, oh, I have got to make music income. That's okay. It's okay if you don't want to make money, by the way. And a lot of people watch this channel and say, hey, what if I just want to make music? What if I don't want to make music income? Well, to find success then in music, however you define success for the music that you make, you have to have a map, you have to have a series of steps, and then you have to walk the walk. And so I've been detailing that on my end on this channel, on all the different income streams that I have. And today I will tell you the action steps that I have been doing, the action steps now that I have been taking, and the action steps that you should be taking. And once we get into some of these other videos, once we get into some of these other courses and things, I'll detail action steps for specific music incomes. But I have specific action steps I take to get into sync. That's why I have a whole ebook about it, about how I got into sync and the action steps I took to do that. Microsync, I have definite action steps for that, and I'll show you those today. Sheet music, I have to do certain steps. Teaching musicians like you, there are certain steps. Some of them are putting together a script that goes terribly when you're trying to go live. And also increasing other music incomes that I do, like royalties and sales and more. There's a lot of steps, a lot of action steps that I have to take to get going with what I am doing. Now, so get ready for some high karate advice today, folks, because today we take action now. Well, welcome to episode 85 of the Make Music Income podcast. And today we are going to be trying to take action steps now. And, you know, we talk about all kinds of things on this podcast. But if we don't take action, if we don't do the things that we need to do to have success, we're going to just flounder. We're just going to ask questions. I don't get it. Why am I not having success here? And I get these questions all the time. And so today I'm going to be telling some stories about some people I have talked to and some success they feel they haven't had. Ooh, a little low on tea. Welcome to the podcast. Let's see who is in here before we get started and just say hi. And Jonathan Carlisle is here. Linda Britton is here. Arco is here. Just came back from college. Shane is here for the cookies. Well, Shane, I might have some cookies somewhere. Signature Music is in the house. So welcome, everyone. Thanks for being here. Happy Friday, Linda. Thank you for being here. And yeah, Arco will have to have a... If you don't know who Arco is and you're listening to this podcast or watching this podcast on here, Arco S is a longtime member of our community here and many communities online. And Arco has been working and going to school recently. He's from India, but he has now recently gone up to England and is in school up there. And so he says he's doing well, just struggling with the roads. Yeah, I would say so. And getting around the city. So they're all having a nice conversation about that. But today we're going to talk about, in podcast 85, about all the kinds of income we make. But more importantly, how can you take action, and what are the action steps you need to be taking from step to step? There's not a lot of them. This isn't like a 20 step list. There is some very specific action steps you can take at each place you are. And so no matter where you are in your music journey, if you're interested in bringing in some music income for what you do, or perhaps making music incomes a bigger part of your life, perhaps the only part. Maybe you want to make full-time music income. There are some specific action steps. And we talk about this all the time, all kinds of action steps on all kinds of music incomes, like sync licensing for TV, films, gaming, and ads. I worked a lot on that this week. Micro sync licensing for YouTube, business music, and other uses. I didn't work all that much on that this week, although I did have a rather large SongTrader payout week, which is always interesting when that dumps. And I have some SongTrader news as well. Understanding music publishing and collecting royalties. Going to be talking more about this soon. Making sheet music and selling it. Working as a music producer for artists and clients. And then being a music artist and incomes that you might have through that. I've got an artist interview coming up. Very interesting guy who does some very interesting things and how he makes incomes. And starting your own channels and much more, probably too much really here that we talk about on this channel. So who am I? Well, my name is Eric Copeland. You can just call me Sensei for today's show. And I've supported my family with music jobs only for about 22 years and made income from music for almost 40 years. Yeah, that's right. 40 years. I never was signed by a label. I really actually wanted to be signed to a music publishing deal. And most of you listening or watching this podcast are probably not signed to a major music deal or a major publishing deal. And maybe you never will be, but that doesn't mean you can't make music income wherever you are in the world in a variety of ways. And so that's what this channel and this podcast is all about. On today's show, we are going to be talking about action steps to get where you want to be with music income. Yes, it takes action, my friends. Even making music is going to take some action on your part. I know that seems kind of silly, but you would not believe some of the questions I get on comments and different things about what to do next. I had a consult yesterday, a Zoom consultation, and it was a very obvious next step for this young man that I talked to. Very good songs, and we'll talk a little bit more about that and tell that story. All right, so today's show is brought to you by the new course by Make Music Income, The Stock Market. That's right. The famous ebook that has been for sale for quite a while is now a course. And yes, the ebook was flying off the virtual shelves. And you might say, Eric, why make... Here, let me put me up on my picture so you don't have to see two pictures of me. Why make this? Why make the stock market? Where, why, and how to submit your music for non-exclusive royalty-free music licensing into a course? Well, there is a reason for that. And the reason is because I just felt like there was more that I could get into, and there was something that I could teach you about this. A lot of people look at this and they wonder, should I get into this micro licensing stock thing? And so I just felt like it was something I could get a little bit more in depth in and not charge too much for, but at the same time give some real good teaching on it from my perspective. And I not only tell you my current thoughts in 2023, about like what it is today, not what it was in 2014. But I talk about the more than 20 stock music and microsync libraries and sites that I am in, and I pull back the curtain and let you see both inside the site, and also I talk about the music that I make on the site. So let me move me so you can see a little bit more of this course. So yeah, I just really feel like that I want you to find out about every library that exists so you can just know what this is all about, so you can have an idea of what's going on. You'll see the big hitters. You'll see the ones that pay me every month at least something. And I will start with the ones you can still get into, not the ones that you can't get into. We'll talk about those. Some of them are harder to get in, like Motion Array, Artlist. Those are harder to get in, and they take... And there are some that don't take submissions anymore, but maybe they will again. We're going to see. And also the ones that make you question if it's worth your time to even deal with them. And that's why I show you inside every single library. You can look at each one and judge for yourself. Everyone seems to have different experiences with every one of these libraries and the sites, and so I just think it's important for you to check out what's going on in here. And here's the best part. Two good parts. Number one good part, you can get this course for 65% of what it's likely going to be when I'm done with it. And the pre-sale is going on now. The course is still under construction. I'm putting new modules up about every day or every other day. And that is what is happening. And here's the even better news. If you continue to go down on this page, the course page, you'll see that the introduction has a free preview. So that's right, you can completely see what it's like to be in the course and just kind of go through it. So if you are interested in this, and I hope you are, because I've worked pretty hard on it, and I think it's a good course, you can just go to makemusicincome.com/stock market. You'll see all the libraries are here. I'm getting ready to put Crucial Music up today, and then more of these libraries and new thoughts on some of these libraries that I've had in the ebooks. We talk about stock licensing, the PRO of stock music licensing, which is Content ID. We talk about Identify. We talk about all of the things, and then some bonus material even. So there's a lot in this course, and you can get it right now for just $65, and it's going to be higher than that. So if you're interested in this at all, I would just suggest that you maybe jump over there and pick that up. At least go look at the free introduction and see what you think. I would appreciate it. All right, let's move on with the show. Let's move on into my week this week, and it has been a wild one. As a matter of fact, I need a drink after that. This week has been crazy. The first part of the week was all about tracking in Nashville on Tuesday. So that meant Monday I got up and spent the day creating some music to be tracked on Tuesday. You all think I just sit around and make videos all day. You think I just sit here and do these lives and all I do is run a YouTube channel and make courses. The reason I do all of that is that's 10 or 20% of my work. The rest of my work is actual music work, and this is a week that took a lot of work to get ready to track 7 songs on Tuesday. So Monday I spent the day creating some music to be tracked Tuesday, and then co-writing some more, and then Tuesday morning I got up literally at 8 o'clock and wrote 2 more songs because tracking was at 10 a.m. Nashville time, which is 11 my time. So I had a few hours to get some more stuff done and or ideas finished up so I could have the players play to that. So starting at 10 a.m. Nashville time, I zoomed in and then I listened in through a technology called Source Audio that comes straight off the board, straight out of Pro Tools, and goes, and then you can log in and hear it in stereo. So I could hear it in stereo, and I had someone operating the computer for Zoom so I could watch what was going on, talk to the musicians, and all that kind of stuff. So this is the kind of thing that I have been doing for 20 plus years, is going to sessions, either in person or virtually. And so we got done 3 Christmas instrumentals, 2 country songs, a worship song, and another song that was kind of a mashup of both Prince, the song Kiss by Prince, and the song Uptown Funk by Bruno Mars. So I think it's going to be cool. Almost all of it was for licensing, And that was just the first 2 days of my week. And then the rest of the week included week 9. We're about to end our 10-week mastermind where the students in this mastermind have been creating full albums, and it's been so much fun. And we have been finishing that. We got one more week, and we're doing, then people are going to move forward with some of the albums they've been working on. Yesterday, I downloaded Pro Tools for my computer. I just hadn't downloaded it yet. I pay for it every month. So I downloaded that, and so I could import and decode the Pro Tools session data from Nashville and get all the songs into Logic so I can begin to play with them and get them on to the next phases. And also a great coaching session yesterday, as I mentioned earlier, with a chap in the UK. And that was a really cool session, some great music he has. And he has a definite action step to take next, and we'll talk about that when we get down into the topic. And oh yeah, I teach every single weeknight, and I leave here at 2:30 and I get home at 12:30. So yeah, folks, I work all morning and to do not only things like this, but also the music work that I do and then I go over and I teach other students. I also do some work on the way and on the way back and do some other things through there. And I always have things happening and answering emails and things like that as well, but I am mainly teaching. So go ahead, tell me you're busy and we'll talk about that. But it's fun. Hey, it's all music stuff. We're here on Friday with more music today. I really am going to get a few more, at least one more module of the course done this afternoon and get that live. And then this whole menagerie of a podcast that we do, and more teaching, and all sorts of stuff going on. And I think they get it, Eric. I think you've driven home the point. So yeah, what has your week been like? If you're in the chat today, let me know what you've been up to musically. Have you made any music? Have you made any money? I made some money this week from several different places. Got a Sound Exchange check. I don't know when I got this. I get this week. Got a Sound Exchange check. Maybe I got it last week. But I've got some income from Song Trader that came in this week. A nice little payout from them. So before I move on here, let's check and see what are the comments and reactions here. And so, oh yes, I see some interesting things. So let's see. Everyone's talking about ARCO and stuff. Ruth is here in the house today. Hello, Ruth from Woodstock, Illinois. Glad to have you today. Shane says he's looking forward to exploring the course more. I am too. I'd love to hear what you think of it. Linda says, are you aware that SongTrader has acquired Bandcamp? Yes, we are going to talk about that in just a moment. And Shane says he's had more Pond 5 sales and sheet music sales. And Shane, I certainly hope you have Identify set up for those songs that you have in Pond 5. And to be honest, sheet music could actually end up being tracked by Identify. If someone was to take your sheet music, play it on a video, well, maybe not, probably not. Never mind. That's a stupid question. I mean, I guess it's possible, but if they use the same piano sound or something. But Pond 5 sales could definitely end up making you some money on the back end in Identify or in Content ID. So be interested if you are doing that. All right, folks. I have a bit of a new sponsor. An amazing thing happened to me this week, and that is that I got a new sponsor, and that is Sweetwater Sound. I am very, very excited about this. So they are kind of a new sponsor of the show. If you don't know what Sweetwater is a music store online, and you can buy everything there. I have been buying all my equipment through Sweetwater. And one of the pluses about Sweetwater, you know what it is. You get candy. It's part of their thing. They have a great web page, and I know you've been going to their web page at some point. I have, and I I've always suggested Sweetwater. Last week when I talked about the keyboard that I'm going to buy, I put the link down below to Sweetwater. And so whenever I show off equipment, I go to this site. And so I'm very excited to be working with them. They have a pretty cool software sale going on. I've got the link below in the comments that you may want to take a look at it. Some really nice deals, cheap deals too, not anything too expensive. A lot of people love universal audio plugins. A lot of cool plugins if that's your thing that you might want to go check out. A software sale going on there. I just got an email about it today, so passing it on to you. Okay, back to the show here and back to camera one. QStube is in the house. Hello, my first time watching. Released some music got a little response. No money yet. Well, good. Glad to hear it. That's what we like to hear. Making music and releasing it. Action steps is what we're talking about today. Making action steps to get your music out. I hope you enjoyed my anime-ish cover today for this particular video. I had fun. I always have fun. You know me, I'm just having fun all the time. So, all right, well, it's time, my friends, for a popular portion, and there is some exciting stuff to talk about today in the news. That's right. The news for September 29th, 2023. And the first piece of news, and back to the screen for this, the Hollywood writer's strike is over after the guild leaders approve the contract with studios. So it is over. They are getting back to work. I heard they are back to work as soon as today, working on writing shows. Now, you might be saying, Eric, why would I care about the writer's strike? Why would I care that the writer's strike is over? Well, my friends, if you are involved at all in sync licensing, this whole thing with the writer's strike and now the impending actor strike, they are meeting on Monday, I heard, to try to end that strike. Usually when one of these ends, the other one ends. And so this whole Hollywood situation has to get back on track so that our music that we're trying to put into sync libraries and get into music, TV shows and things like that. I have a Christmas album. I am trying to finish that thing up. I feel like I've gotten a little grace because I have I've had this strike going on, so I've been able to get a little extra time before I need to turn this in. But I talked to my library owner the other day, and he told me, yes, get that to me right away because he wants to get that right up on the library because Christmas time is a great time. If you have songs in Christmas libraries, it's like Christmas every year. Wait a minute. It is already Christmas every year. But it is really a Christmas present every time on the 24th or 25th you see people using your music in things. And sometimes that day on TuneSat, I will see the use. They use it on 24th and the 25th and the 26th as they are doing Christmas stuff. So that's pretty interesting. So that I hope that this is going to be something that brings us some good news as far as this strike being over and us not having to worry about it anymore. The other thing that someone, Linda, talked about earlier, and also that I thought I had something about that here. Hold on just a second. I want to find that particular. This is a really interesting piece of news here, and I saw it earlier on here. Let's just go to Billboard. Billboard has something about it, and let's just go back to the screen here. So Billboard, which is advertising to us here, Songtrader has acquired Bandcamp from Epic Labs. Songtrader is Epic Games. Epic Games is the developer of Fortnite, but apparently they have also owned Bandcamp. But now Songtrader is owning Bandcamp. And folks, this is very interesting. Let's just think about this for a minute. Bandcamp has really become, in the absence of CD baby selling CDs. Bandcamp has become, I felt, the main way if you're an artist trying to sell physical product and also sell downloads on your own and do all these things with your own site, kind of. You can include Bandcamp things in your site. I've always felt that Bandcamp was the next step for a lot of artists. Now SongTrader, who I have dozens, if not hundreds I have hundreds of songs in SongTrader, and I just told you they gave me a good payout this week. They acquire Bandcamp. What would SongTrader do with Bandcamp? Are they going to sell product? Are they going to sell CDs? Are they going to use it as another part of the monetization strategies that they already offer that I made $130 or more this past week as a payout from them this month? I don't know what the full month is going to end up being, but it's going to be between $125 and $150 from SongTrader. But think if Bandcamp and being able to sell products and being able to sell downloads becomes one of their monetization options, which I think is the best part of SongTrader. SongTrader is going to become huge. What say you people out there about this? What do you think is going to happen about this? Let me know. I have really, Jonathan Carlos says, Eric has overdosed on Cobra Kai. Maybe I have, maybe it's true. I am on fire today with action steps. But yeah, that's this whole news about SongTrader and Bandcamp is very interesting. And also shout out to my friend, who else told me about this today? Somebody on Discord put this out today. And I can't remember who it was, but I saw one of our friends on Discord talk about this news today as well. So very interesting news there. Hey, speaking of all the stuff that we're talking about today, as far as, if you're going to have to get going on action steps, probably action step zero, which I'll talk about in a minute. Action step zero is probably making sure that you have the tools that you need to do the job. And my latest ebook, my last ebook that I put out, has been called The Tools You Need to Make Music and Make Music Income. And I think one of the first things we've got to do is we have to make sure that we have the right tools. This could be the first step for you. Maybe you're watching or listening to this podcast and you're wondering, I don't even know how to get started because I know I want to make music, but I don't even have a setup of any kind. Well, this ebook is meant to help you get going on the tools that you need. Just having the right software is very important. The right tools, so many of them are free. In our mastermind this week, and Shane will attest to this, we heard a tremendous new piece by a young composer, and he did it almost completely with the free BBC SO orchestra from Spitfire that we had told him about. I think I sent him this ebook so he could go and find more stuff. But just having this software allowed him to be able to do some serious work. He had been doing some beats and just very, very small things. But his heart's desire was to get into some orchestral work. And just having this tool, just having, not this ebook, but just having that tool, that BBC SO free orchestra from Spitfire, the Discovery Orchestra, allowed him to do that. And again, it was a free library and you can get it too. So I'm still working on revamping this, but you can go into the Tools to Make Music Income ebook. You'll find it at makemusicincome.com/free and get this ebook and find free and cheap tools to make really nice music and then be ready to make the next steps. And so go to makemusicincome.com/free and see what you think. All right. Any other comments here from the peanut gallery? A lot of craziness going on over here today. Shane says, I think you need to create a holiday version of the news theme, Christmas news, scary Halloween news. That's funny you should say that, Shane, because I almost created a anime version of the theme song today if I'd had more time. But it's not been a time-filled week. It's been a week of not enough time. But if I had enough time, I would be making making things like that because I love to do it. I do have plans to take the news theme and develop into a whole theme to put up on micro licensing sites. QsTube says, let's see if I get any background actor gigs with central casting as well as some sync placements. I prefer the background work though. Craft services is amazing. Cool. And Young Hustlers is in the house. Says, wow, that's big. Yeah, it is big. Both pieces of news are big. I got another piece of news. Well, no, I don't have more news, but just taking this from the Song Trader post. Yeah. Yeah, and Shane says, case in point, the dramatic difference that BBCSO made in his music. It was just nuts. We are very proud of the way this young man has come along in our mastermind. You're going to have to get in our mastermind the next time we do one. I've got an idea for a new one, and I love doing it, so I'm not even going to wait necessarily to do another mastermind. I'm going to get right to it. All right, so I have a little bit more news. Doubling down today on the karate and the fighting. So I heard this on another podcast. This is not my own news, but I heard this on Bobby Owsinski's podcast. If you're not listening to that podcast, you should definitely be listening to it. But the RIAA mid-year music report just came out, and some interesting tidbits. We talked about this somewhat, I don't know how many podcasts ago it was, but I talked about the 2022 revenue report. And when they get to the middle year, they have the mid-year revenue report come out, and something super interesting happened. As always, everything is going up. And streaming keeps going up. I did hear some concern that they might be reaching their saturation point as far as how many more new listeners can they get on streaming. But I don't know. I think they can get a lot more. But here's one of the things that really interests me. Yeah, 84% of streaming. We've seen this before. Let me move me out of the way again. We've seen 84% of streaming be what it is. It's been 84% for a few years now. But look at this. I don't know if you remember from the last one, but over the last 2 years, sync has been, we've had physical at 11%. That's similar to what it was recently. Downloads continues to come down. I believe it was 4% last time. But sync has gone up a percentage. And you might say, ooh, big deal, 3%. That is a big deal. And I'm going to show you why. Because if we come down here to the way it's breaking everything down, digital downloads continue to decline. The paid subscriptions continue to go up, not quite as steeply, but again, this is just half of the year. So they are just measuring half years here. But physical products continue to grow. CDs and vinyl. CDs actually grew. Vinyl grew. And so what's really interesting here, though, I want to show you is the synchronization royalties right here. Last year, is that the first half of 2022, there were 178 million. Everything is in millions here. This year, over the first 6 months, 222.7 million. That's a rise of 25.1%. This is something that means something to us who are interested in licensing. So if you're interested in music licensing, this is a pretty big deal that sync royalties have gone up and continue to go up and are being a bigger part. How far will they go up? Probably not hugely far, because the majority of music that's listened to by people is listened to through streaming. So that's 84%. And that's going to continue to be a giant as far as the, just like the album was for almost 100 years, or 80 years, the record, the vinyl was the main way and the main thing that was listened to until cassettes took a bit of that, and then CDs took all of that, and now streaming has taken all of that. But stuff continues to grow on these, all of music continues to do well. We're not hurting, folks. We're not hurting at all with music right now, but I find it really interesting that sync has gone up. I think all my hayas have taken my voice away. All right, let's see if there's anything else to say before we get into the meat of this episode. Linda says, what's in that tea? Well, I will tell you today, Linda, it is a mix of cinnamon tea. I can't remember, from Harney and Sons, and some other kind of cinnamon, non-caffeinated cinnamon. I do also have some emergency backup water, and so I believe I will be getting to that. Ragdoll is in the house. Hi, what's up? Glad to have you in the house today. Jonathan Carlisle is having fun. So let's move on now to today's topic. It's time. We've fooled around long enough. We've got to take action steps, folks. Action steps to get where we want to be. And this isn't just a funny thing I decided to do. It's something that, as I was planning out my next course, I really thought that taking action steps at the end of each chapter is an important thing. And in some cases, in my new course, The Stock Market, I have action steps for you to take. Actually, that whole thing is an action step, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But I talked a little earlier about action step 0. And that is just getting ready. We've got to get ready to make music income. There's some people watching this right now that's like, okay, I saw a funky graphic and I thought it was interesting. And so here I am wanting to know how to make music income. What do I have to do? And so there is a step 1, but there's actually even a step 0 that I need you to do. And that is, I need you to get ready. You've got to get the tools like we talked about. We talked about the BBC Orchestra. We talked about the tools ebook that I have that offers you tons of free tools to use. And that is something that you can do. You can certainly use these tools that are free and they are easy to use, and they are, or maybe they're just cheap, maybe they're not free, but at least they are things that you can use. And so I think it's very important that we get our tools together, because if I talk to so many students who don't have any kind of music tools, they don't have a computer. I see students at school all the time. I said, "You make any beats this weekend?" "No, I don't have a setup at home." There's almost no excuse to not have a setup at home. You could have your phone, you could have your iPad, you could have anything. You don't need to be not having the tools you need. That is crazy. And with so many free tools out there, you need to have them. If you don't know any of them, get my free ebook. It's there for you. The other thing that I think that's people need to do as an action step, this sounds like not an action step, but it's an action step, and that is, to get ready, you have to figure out the time you're going to spend to make music and the time you're going to spend to do all your things you're going to do to get people to network and to get your songs out there and all that kind of stuff. And that means you're going to have to find time in the day somewhere to do this. So that's a action step 0, is to find the time in your week, in your day. I have to find times in my day. I have to get up early to work, and then sometimes I have to do work very late. Then you might have to really think about the genres. The young man I talked to yesterday in our coaching session, he was really questioning which genres should he concentrate on, or does he do too many genres, which I don't think is a thing, actually. And he had heard advice that he has to do one genre. Well, I don't think you have to do that. I think you can work with many genres, especially if you are good at them. Then there's the plan. You have to plan what you're going to do. You have to make a plan and then go for it. And this plan means where am I going to focus and what is the order of how I'm going to focus. And then we're going to execute the plan. And so when we're executing the plan, we finally get to action step 1, which might be pretty not exciting to you as a person watching this video, but I'm telling you, you've got to make music. You're going to think this is crazy, but a lot of people come to me and they tell me they just sent one song to Motion Array, one song, or they sent 2 songs here, or they put a song in Pond 5. Why isn't anything happening? Folks, making music income, it doesn't matter what you're doing, is going to require you to make music, not just a song, Not just 2 songs, not just 5 songs, not just 10 songs, but a lifetime of songs, a portfolio, a grand portfolio of songs. Listen, I would not be making any money off any of these libraries had I not been putting a lot of music into them. And I know some people might disagree with this and think this is not quite as important, that one good song could make your whole career. I've just never seen that happen. I've never seen that happen to anybody. And so let's break this down. How many songs do you need to get into sync licensing? Well, I think you've got to start with at least 5 to 10 that you can approach a library with that are in the same genre that you can go into that and start approaching libraries. We'll get to approaching people and making contact here in a minute. But right now, we're talking about how much music do you need to make? Well, for sync, here's what I did. I decided that I wanted to get into sync and switch over from being a music producer and move over more into being a licensing company, a music licensing production company. And so I purposely started making music for music licensing, exactly the kind of positive songs that I knew that they were looking for. And I made some pop songs, I made some Christmas songs. I had 2 kind of albums that I got together, and that's what I approached these music libraries with first. I still do this. I still come up with a lot of songs. I make a lot of music. I just made it this past week on Tuesday, and a lot of that stuff is going to be turned over maybe as soon as Monday or Tuesday to this library. And you just got to make enough music that you can approach people with it. It used to be like back in the day when I would go to Nashville, they would say, come with 3 songs and show us that you've got 3 good songs and we might sign you to a music publishing deal. All demos, early demos back then had 3 songs to them. They'd say, bring us 3 songs. Now I think we're at the 5 to 10 songs phase as far as trying to approach a library about your music or someone that they can see what you're doing. And there really needs to be more than that behind it, but especially 5 to 10 great produced songs. And then that just continues, and more 5 and 10, more 5 and 10 albums. I've got a list of about 50 albums that have 5 or 10 songs in them to make. It just requires a lot, folks. And when we get into stock music licensing, same thing. You've got to be making music and putting them in these things. A lot of people will tell you that Motion Array does best when you have new stuff going into that library every week. Pond 5 and Audio Jungle has actually paid me some this month. I've had a good month on Audio Jungle because I've been putting new music up there, and that new music is being found. If you're making sheet music, this is one place where I am falling down on sheet music. I get sheet music sales, but I don't have much up there. I have 5 to 10 songs up there. You've got to have a lot of songs for people to find, and then once they find one they like, they might explore the other pieces of sheet music that you have. This is the way it works. If you're producing artists for income, you're going to need a portfolio. Or if you want to become a music producer and you want to start producing people, making beats for people, recording people, you're going to need a portfolio of music you can show them to entice them to work with you. So if you're an artist, yes, you can do a single. I just had a really good talk with Andrew Southworth on his channel, which will be coming out in a few weeks. And, we talked about the single strategy, and yes, it works, but more is needed. Yeah, you could put a song out every 6 to 8 weeks. That's fine, but I would have those songs ready and have 6 songs lined up to go out and then turn them into some kind of EP and then have more songs and more songs and more songs. You can't move on to the next action step I'm going to give you here. You cannot move on. None shall pass. You cannot go forward without enough music. So you have to make the music. I know this sounds ridiculous, listening to a music income channel. Of course you make music, you say. But do you? Do you make enough music to make the music income that you want to make? I gotta have a sip of tea for that little soliloquy. Let's see if there are any comments. No comments on this. All right, let's move on here. Action step 2. I should have done like a hi-ya. I should have had a sound effect for today, but again, had a busy week. So the second step of action is now that you have songs. Let's say you have songs, and this is where the young man that I talked to in the UK yesterday is sitting. It is time for him to make contact. It is time for him to find places to send his songs. So if we're talking stock music, well, I think I might just have a place that you can go for stock music and try to find out where to send your stock music. Where are you going to send it? Maybe right here. Maybe you're going to go to a resource like the stock market and find out where you need to be putting your songs. You need places to pitch to. You need places to contact. You have to make contact and get people hearing your songs. And that's the next step. You've got the music. And that's where the young man was yesterday that I talked to. He had some great music, a lot of good trailer music, a lot of good period style music, like 60s style music, very unique stuff, very well made. Yet he was stuck at the frozen point of, now what do I do? He's been putting it out on his SoundCloud. He's been doing different things. What does he do with it? Where does he go with it? Does he just, try to continue to make more music, or is it time? And how does he package up those songs? So if you're doing stock, you can use something like my stock course. If you are doing sync licensing, well, I have another resource for you there too. And that resource is my friend Jesse's music library directory. If you have made music for sync and you are ready to get out to libraries, this is what I purchased. I'm just telling you what I did. I was watching Jesse and talk about sync licensing on his channel, and when I saw that he had a music library directory, I wanted that. I didn't want to have to search every single place on the internet for that music. So I bought this directory. It was a great purchase. I have used it to narrow down the libraries I want to send to, and it's not that expensive. It's only a $47 ebook, and it's got some bonus PDFs, and he offers you other great things that you can do. But I tell you, this has been a great resource for me, and so I have put that link down below in the comments as well. If you go and buy that, tell him Eric sent you, because we have a little deal together if I send him stuff. So that supports this channel. So if you do buy this directory, and it's great, I'm not just telling you because it's great. There's also one from Clint Music. He has one as well, but this is the one I've used. I don't know about Clint's. I need to get him to give me a free copy so I can talk about his ebook. But this ebook is in the notes below, and if you are really looking to get your music, you've got the music made, you're looking to get into sync, then go look at Jesse's directory, because it's good and he updates it every year. So that is a way that you can get started, that you can take action for sync if you are at that point, if you've made the music, if you are ready to take action. The next action step for you in sync is to get out there and find some libraries and start sending stuff to libraries. All right, if you are wanting to get into music production, a lot of the students I have want to become music producers. So the first thing I tell them is they have to do some kind of marketing after they get out of school to find people to produce, because people aren't going to know about you unless they can find you. Maybe they're going to find you like they did me early on through the internet. I made a website 30 years ago about my music services, and that was producing people. And I would suggest that if this is what you want to do, and to be honest, I wonder why more of you aren't using music production as a service to make music income, because you all obviously can make music for libraries. Why aren't you also offering this out to local and regional artists to produce them? You have the tools. Why aren't you doing it? And if you want to do it, you're going to have to put together a website with a little portfolio on it. And a good portfolio maker is Bandcamp, actually. We just talked about Bandcamp being bought by SongTrader. But Bandcamp is a pretty good place to sell and or show off music. They have a great player that plops right into your site, and that does great. Or you could use SoundCloud, although SoundCloud is having some issues with ads. I'm not enjoying that process of listing the music I was listening to yesterday on my coaching call. Ads were playing every 5 seconds, and it was just so annoying. So SoundCloud is not a reliable way to show music off to professionals. But you have to market yourself. You have to make contact with the clients, whether those clients are clients that are buying something off a stock music library, or you're trying to get into a stock music library, or you're trying to get into a sync library. You've got to make contents with production clients. If you're an artist, you've got to do something else. You've got to put your music out. So you are going to need to go to someplace like DistroKid and be prolific. Hey, this goes back to what I was just talking about the first action step, which is to make music. Your sensei says, make music. And grasshopper, you should be making music today and be prolific. This is something that I feel like I have done a good job at. And I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to, well, we know our friend Dave Croft has 52 Qs, where he tries to encourage you to at least do one song a week. At the end of that year, you'll have 52 songs to pitch, and you can be pitching along the way. But if you're an artist and you're trying to put your music out, then DistroKid is who I suggest. And I always have a DistroKid link below where you can save 7% to sign up with DistroKid and start putting your music out to Spotify. I just believe in this. I believe no matter what you're doing, whether you're doing stock, whether you're doing sync, whether you're not doing any of that stuff, whether you're an artist, you need to have your stuff out where the public can find it. No one is going to hear your music if it is sitting on your computer. So please, for the love of all that is music, put your music out and use DistroKid or some other place to put it out. Let's see if we have any comments from the from folks here. Ragdoll says, what about disco? Yes, I absolutely push disco. I use disco. That's what I use to show off. I don't, disco is $15 a month or $10 a month. I can't remember which one I pay for it, but it's very worth it. It's like a SoundCloud without all the nonsense, without all the craziness. Shane Jensen says, SoundCloud for me seems to be merely a place to organize and store music that can be easily sent out. Maybe. Yeah, I think you can do like a level where you can do private things. And I don't think those have ads on them, maybe. But I'm telling you that Disco is the place I use, and it's disco.au. I don't have any kind of code down there, but just go to disco.au and check that out. It's where the industry of sync is hanging out. It's where the music supervisors want to see and hear stuff. It's what they prefer to use. Shane says, I think I have a Next Pro membership, and he's talking about SoundCloud, so he never sees ads. That's fine for you, as long as I don't see an ad when I go to look at your SoundCloud as a person who might hire you or want your songs. That is the key. It's not so much you seeing ads. It's the people who go to your site seeing ads. That's what we don't want to see. All right, so we have talked about action step 2 here, making contact. If you're going to be making sheet music, and this is something I'm going to be doing a video on, the Hello Composers YouTube channel is about to get revved up again now that our mastermind is ending. I'm going to be putting regular content again out on Wednesdays. It might even be live, I don't know. But one of the things I want to talk about is MuseScore. I am a big fan of this software. It's free. It is very helpful and very usable. It's a free download. And I have to tell you, this newest version 4 is very impressive. So if you're dipping your toe, of course, if you're a pro, you might want to get something like Sibelius or Dorico or Finale. But if you're dipping your toe into making sheet music, I would suggest just copying and pasting your MIDI out of, you can just export your MIDI out of whatever DAW you're using and import it into MuseScore and begin playing around and making sheet music. It is that easy, and I'll show that in an upcoming video. But I really like MuseScore. I don't have any kind of affiliate with them as far as I know, but just go to musescore.com I think, or just do a search for MuseScore 4 and you will find it. But it's a great piece of software, and you need to get into sheet music. It's another passive music income stream that I love and can't do without. So that is making contact. You've got to make contact with people who are going to find your music, whether it's libraries, whether it is artists and clients, whether it is people who listen to music on Spotify, or whether it is people who buy sheet music, and there are many others. But you've got to make that contact. And I think that's where a lot of people are after they've made their music. They're sitting, they're kind of sitting there going, I don't know what I should do next. Well, you've got to make contact with someone to get your music out. If you've got the music made, and if you're sure about it and you think it's good, then it's time to make contact and get it out. Now, action step 3. Action step 3 is building relationships. And this happens after you have made contact with people. So all of these steps have to happen one after the other. You can't make contact with people with no music and say, hey, I'd love to write for your library. Well, they'll be like, what have you written? You say, well, I haven't written anything yet. So you can't do action step 2 without action step 1. And you really can't do action step 3 without making contact with people in action step 2. So the first thing you've got to make contact with is with clients of some kind. And there are clients all around, no matter what you do. If you are a music maker and you've made music, you want to get it to sync licensing. Well, your clients are going to be music supervisors or sync agents or libraries, library owners. If your clients are if you're going to be teaching music, those are going to be students and or your bosses at the school. If you are trying to get into stock music libraries, well, then it's going to be, your clients are going to be these people on Motion Array and Pond 5. And guess what? All of these people, whether you know it or not, they're going to be making relationship with you. They're going to be building trust. You're going to be building trust with them. And this is very important because eventually you'll have what is happening with me. Instead of me just pitching my full head off to every library and person I have wanted to talk to, the tide has turned to them now coming to me. And the relationship is something where I can say, hey, can you give me a call real quick? And they instantly call me because they have a moment. And we chat for a sec, and then we move on. And they trust me enough to even give me advances towards players and things like that. This is what building relationships and showing people what you can do for you. It's not, then guess what? It becomes less about pitching out to people, like trying to pitch out songs, and I'm trying to pitch here this library and this library and this library. Instead of pitching, and again, I didn't make this up, you're catching. I'm not a baseball fan, but this is a good analogy. You're not just pitching, but you're catching work. You're catching opportunities. You're catching briefs from these people because you have built relationships with them. Once you get into a Motion Array, they have briefs that they are looking for. You're catching the opportunities rather than hoping that the song you send in is they like it and you have to wait 12 days to find out if they like it and accept it. When you send something in for a brief that they have on Motion Array, you hear back in 1 day. And if they like it and it fits the brief, it's up in the library in 1 day. This is how building relationships is important, and why building relationships after you've made contact with people over time, this is the action step that really starts to make the career roll without you having to hit your head up against a wall trying to find people. Once you find the people and you do good work for them for a long while, and this goes for clients too. One of the reasons why I was a music producer for 20 years is because I did good work for clients, and I showed that work to other people who then wanted that work, and then I did good work for them, and you build those relationships over time. And then that work, those relationships send you more work. They send you more opportunities to get your music out. And so all of these things kind of happen. All of these action steps happen one after the other. One action step begets the next action step, and another action step begets the next action step. And that's just the way that this works. So I hope this is being helpful. I'm almost done. I'm going to move now to, it's kind of the last action step. And that is action step 4. And this is something that is probably an action step you can do all along the way, and that is getting things in order. And when I'm talking about getting things in order, I am talking about your royalty structure things, your PROs. What are you going to join? BMI, ASCAP, PRS, wherever you are in the world. What are you going to join? You better be joining a society that's going to collect royalties on your behalf. PRO, performance royalties, mechanical royalties, neighboring rights royalties. You're going to need to join someplace like Identify that's going to collect your content ID royalties. I think Identify, I'm giving a talk next week to several classes at my school about royalties, and I do a whole presentation about it. And you'll likely see it on here as well soon. But content ID, I think, has become the new royalty stream that everybody needs to pay attention to. Because forget about stock music licensing. If you're on Spotify and someone downloads your tune and then puts it behind their song and puts it behind their video and then puts the video up on YouTube, you need to have some protection. You need to be getting paid for that. And that's what Content ID does. So I think Content ID is a very big deal in the royalty structure. So you need to be paying attention to all of these things, all of your royalty streams. You need to be paying attention to what your website looks like or your social media looks like and getting those things in order. You need to be continuing to get all the things on all the sites. These are things, you got to keep your house in order. It's a step. And if you've gone through all the steps, you've made the music, you've made contact, you've got in libraries, you've built relationships, that's not the end. As a matter of fact, I hate to tell you this, but after you make the relationships and you get stuff in there, it all starts over again, my friends. We find new tools to use. We change into using another tool, and we start getting new sounds, and we start experimenting with new genres, and we make more relationships, and we make more music. And all that time, we've got to keep all of our royalty things in order. We've got to keep all those records. We've got to keep our ISRCs all on a spreadsheet. We've got to keep all of this stuff in order. It's very important as we are trying to continue to make music income throughout our lives, not just for a year or two. Listen, if you're just in this for a hobby, fine. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's music is a great hobby. But you likely wouldn't be at a site called Make Music Income if you weren't hungry to make some music income. And so that's why I say it's so important to keep all of your things in order. I have been working hard lately on updating my Sound Exchange site. I have been working hard lately on updating my Music Report site. I have been working on updating all my sites. You just got to keep all of these things in check. And so that's basically what I am talking about with getting things in order. It's the action step. This kind of is like action step all. It just is always happening. But if you have gotten through all these things and you have time, then maybe you need to be organizing a little bit and getting things in order. Because, my friends, I hate to tell you this, but after you are done with action step 4, it goes back to action step 1 again, making more music. And then guess what we're going to do? Make more contacts and build more relationships. It's like a big circle. We're going to keep this going. We talk about this all the time here on this channel. So this is what I am talking about when I am talking about the action steps that you can take now. Now's a good time if you have any comments, because I am coming about to the close of today's podcast, because I feel like I've gone in a big circle, and that's good because I wanted to just get these action steps to you. Yes, I'm not hitting you in the face, but I kind of am. I'm kind of trying to give you some oomph to get past the step you're at. If you're here in the chat, let me know what step you're on. What is the step that you are struggling with right now? Is it making the music? Is it making the contacts? Is it building relationships? Is it keeping track of all the things that you're trying to do? Let me know, and then we will talk about that. But yeah, folks, I think this is super important. I think that all these action steps are what I am facing every day. I'm actually reading right now off my notes app on the computer, which is also on my phone, which is also on my iPad, which is also everywhere. And my notes app app is how I keep track of all the things, is all the action steps I need to take next on everything. And that's why I'm able to make music income, and that's why I'm able to sit here and talk about my experiences making income. By the way, I am not the end-all be-all. I'm just telling you my experiences and what I've seen in a 20 or 30-year life in music. So I hope this has helped, and I hope that you are got some idea of what to do next. QStube says, do you teach at Fullerton? No, I am in Orlando. I teach at a college here, a recording school here in Orlando called First Institute. It's kind of like a mini Full Sail. It's kind of a smaller focused Full Sail. So yeah, that's where I teach, and I also teach here online, and am planning to teach more and more here online. So I hope this has been helpful for you today. Anybody have any last comments? I don't have any planned viewer mail today. I'm going to get going on with the day, try to get another module done for the course. Remember, our course, this is really where I am putting a lot of my energy right now to teach about stock. This is the final, well, not the final, but this is my premier product on stock music and microsites and all the sites that make us little bits of money for our redheaded stepchildren that we may not be pushing out to sync licensing. And I really follow this a lot, and I think it's important to make a good quality, low price course for you to get to. And remember, right now you can get it for just $65 for what's probably going to be a $99 course. I don't think it's going to go much higher than that. Maybe it's going to be $125, but get the best price right now that you can get on it, folks. Go get the free preview of the course. I'd really appreciate your thoughts on it. Every module lets you leave comments, and I would love to hear your comments, as long as they're nice comments. No, only nice comments, please. So anyway, that's about all I have. Let's just see. Signature Music, it says it's a juggling act. Yeah, it is a juggling act for sure to do all of these things that we've been talking about today. And it's just something that we have to do. We've got to take action steps to get to the places we want to get. I've got to take action steps right now and go keep finishing this course. I've got to take an action step to make income by going to the school and teaching today. I have to make action steps by doing many other things. And so I have to finish the songs that I tracked in Nashville on Tuesday, and I have to go in and finish producing. I didn't even really talk. I guess that's under making music. I have to go make music. I'm back at step one. I'm back at action step one. That's my action step for the next few days, is to get all of those songs that we finished that are very good. They need to be done, and they need to get out. And so they won't get out unless I make the music. And that's what I talked about there. Ragdoll says, thank you so much for all the info. Hey, my pleasure. Join us here again. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you here as part of things. We do this. I try to do this every Friday, and I really enjoy doing it live. I could tape it and edit it, but I don't have editing time. And so it is what it is. I do edit the podcast. If you're listening on the podcast, you are getting a more edited version of this rather than all of my ramblings. But those of you watching here online, thank you so much for being patient with me as I go and try to juggle all these screens. Jonathan Carlos says, only nice comments. Can't be that you have bad comments, Eric. Not too many. Every once in a while, there's a weirdo that says something. But you have to just delete those and move on. It's sometimes hurtful, but it's okay. That's what all creators deal with. He says, awesome show, by the way. Thank you so much. I just felt like, I don't know why, I know where this came from because I'm working on another course to work on after the course I'm working on now. And I just talk about action steps at the end of everything I talk about. So as always, well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Ragdoll says, I am producing pop and now I want to make more cinematic. So I make 2 pop and 2 cinematic per week. Nice. Already sub from my other channels. Great. Yeah, I have other channels I sub from things too. So cool. Very good, Ragdoll. Well, thanks so much for being here today. And thanks everybody for being here today. I hope you have a good week and weekend. And whenever you're listening, wherever you're listening from, if you listen to this tomorrow, it will be a little bit edited in the beginning, and probably I'll clean up my crazy intro. But and if you're listening to the podcast, you got the best version of all. So you're also listening to some music that I felt like you should hear coming out of this. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining me today for Action Steps Now. And now I am going to go do some action steps myself. So gonna sign off now. See you later, everybody. Thanks for being here. We will see you next week on the Make Music Income Podcast, or talk to you on the Make Music Income Podcast. And I'm going to sign off for now. Everybody, have a great week, and thanks again for watching. We'll see you. Bye-bye.